Ron's a baseball guy. How many first pitches do you think he's thrown out in his life? He seems like he's good for one a year, right? They go to the Ron McGill well.
I think we might be able to stay right here and never ask him any animal questions. Right here with you frolicking with Ron.
I mean, if a guy would show up on time, geez. For all these ceremonies where they're honoring him, I bet you he's not late.
Maybe there's a surgery he's photographing.
You guys feuding with Ron McGill?
It's not a feud. I mean, just, Chris, tell Chris he's wrong, Dan. Is he wrong?
Is he wrong about what? Another surgery that he's got to photograph? That he's photographing a lot of surgeries? Is he wrong about that?
Those Facebook posts aren't going to post themselves.
I think his point that he's just said is that Ron makes it seem like he's, essential to the surgery process and he's, taking pictures.
I had to be there to watch them do the procedure.
Are you guys willing to do this to his face? Because I think you guys you've been very comfortable doing this in the shadows to Ron McGill, but I think we should bring it out in the open because you guys feuding with Ron McGill,
not a feud,
undercutting him or making him self-important.
You're always trying to turn people against
Yeah,
each other.
what is your deal?
And put people
you
in
just want
uncomfortable
people to
situations.
fight all the time.
You realize that friction is good on the air, and you can just sit back, get all the credit for the content.
Watch the world burn.
And watch the world burn.
Yeah.
You're Marla Singer. Hold the narrator's hand at the end of Fight Club, just as the whole world collapses.
Some men just want to see the world burn.
Just let us talk behind his back.
Jeez, come on.
Yeah.
I can't talk shit anymore. It's ridiculous.
This is
For
how
real.
the world works, Dan.
Yeah.
Say it to his face.
Let's put it on a billboard. Like, no, I just want to say
it to
things.
his
We're just
face.
joshing around.
Just
like,
having fun.
We should make a billboard
On
of
the
us
whole-
heckling Ron McGill,
I
on his
mean-
way into work.
Yeah.
on the whole, we all generally like Ron McGill on aggregate, but there are certain things that he's, you give him a little stick for. It's not this big thing. It's not this beef. It's not this argument. You don't have to make it uncomfortable. We're just talking shit about somebody.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes you wonder, hey, that, animal didn't make it out of surgery because the photographer was in the way. The doctor couldn't get there in time. I don't know.
How sanitary is that Nikon?
Uh-huh.
Were those Eagles, having a kid about the Eagles or about Ron?
Named him Ron and Rita.
That was
I mean,
a bit much. Yeah.
Self-involved.
Wait a second. You have a hippo named Dan Le Batard. You can't make that accusation.
Yeah, Dan.
What was the name of that guy that he told us actually did all the work with the Eagles? I don't remember him. Remember he just casually dropped in the name?
Dick Vermeil.
No.
Yeah. Andy Reid.
Rich Cotine.
You guys are just going to do this? Just
Art
going
Shell.
to do old Eagles?
Buddy Ryan.
I don't remember Art Shell with the Eagles. Was
Irving Fryer.
he with the Eagles?
I don't remember him with the Eagles either.
Jaws.
Wait, did you do a... Wait. Uh-oh.
What?
Did someone do a Ray Rhodes thing?
Oh, Ray Rhodes.
Roy did.
Oh.
Oh,
Wow.
my
Well,
God.
thank God it's not February anymore.
Yeah, thank God.
Oh, we have a march.
please don't
National
stop
Women's
doing
Month.
that all year. I
Mike
mean, all month,
Golick.
please.
Where is this guy?
That's what I'm asking.
I never know when he shows up anymore.
Saving the world.
He's taking this platform for granted.
Okay, you will say that to his face as well when he gets
I will
here.
not. I will talk shit about someone
Yeah.
in private like I ought to do.
Mm-hmm.
Like any red-blooded American.
Yeah.
This is my right to talk shit behind someone's back.
It's America,
and not have them
Jack.
find out.
He's going to do the thing now like, oh, sorry, he's going to act all like winded.
Yeah, no,
like
no,
he walked
no.
fast.
Flustered, yeah, flustered.
Oh, I tried to.
That's another thing.
There was
I
a
mean,
zebra that took a
if we're-
shit, and
yeah.
I had to.
Oh, yeah.
I have to take a picture. I don't know if you guys have noticed. It just goes around in a golf cart. You know what I mean? Like it's not walking going around.
That's
the zoo.
fine.
He's
You
just
know
a
what?
luminary.
Fake McGill
No,
that
he's
Chris
a
has
luminary.
there. A great fake
No,
tired
yes,
McGill.
thank you.
He's Pat Hanlon.
You know, but
He's
it
just,
is.
he's just Zoo Pat Hanlon. Safari Pat Hanlon is who he is.
Chris Cody.
Don Francisco came. We had to take pictures of the
Wait,
turtles.
I have to be the one.
Dan Hugla wanted a tour.
Oh, I have to do it. Just 'cause
Uggs.
only I'm capable.
I am totally willing to go down the path that Ron McGill, when he gets here late, is play acting insincerely, like he's all frazzled when he was just doing something in the other room, keeping us waiting, having a cup of, he lost track of time, having a cup of coffee,
Playing
then
Candy
makes
Crush or
up a
something.
story. A rhino just chased somebody through a pen, and I'm 6 minutes late. I got to come
Let's
here
have
frazzled.
a bet. Let's guess what the excuse will be.
He's taking a photo with Ileana Ross-Leighton.
No, but he won't say that. He won't say that.
No,
I want to hear the
no.
excuse, whatever we come up with in Chris's voice, though, because I think he has it nailed. Like I do. I think he has the impersonation nailed.
He's talking to a Diaz Balart.
He was finishing this week's The Servant.
We will go to Chris Cody's frazzled McGill.
Hold on. Rainier Diaz de la Portilla needs an owl at his birthday. Oh, I gotta.
Getting into the chair frazzled as soon as Ron McGill makes an appearance here. But I am here for the first ever meeting. We always tell people longest standing segment. They think he's popular. They think he's decent. The dark side of Ron McGill, where the show just talks shit about him
He's got you all fooled.
because he's been stealing company money all these years, taking pictures of the surgeries while not making himself helpful because he's just a paid actor.
He's just a PR guy. He's cool. He's a PR guy that wears khaki. And you're like, oh, if that person's at a zoo, he's wearing khaki. He must be doing something
The
important.
animals do like him. We've all seen that.
What?
We
You're
haven't
making him
heard them
Dr.
talk.
We don't
Doolittle?
know
No,
for
he's
sure. I mean, it's,
He
hard
tells
to
us
tell
they like
sometimes.
him.
When they hear
Exactly.
Malcolm, he knows food's coming. I mean, come on. Hey, Malcolm!
Malcolm.
That's one of the animals' names that he always calls.
Right.
I think it's the giraffe. I think, or the I went on
That's
the
the one
tour
you
once.
stabbed.
But you're saying Malcolm's going to love anyone who's bringing Malcolm
Right.
food.
If I
Right,
have
yeah.
these carrots, Malcolm's gonna like me too. A news
Oh,
story.
but you have seen him interact with. He plays catch with the gorillas.
But he puts that
he's
out,
bringing a treat to them and throwing like most animals with treats.
They
you
get
know,
a
he-
steak, yeah.
How
You
are
think
not
he's
insulted
cheating?
by this?
You think he's cheating?
You're genuinely friends with Ron McGill, which is why you're taking great offense to us just
Yeah.
making casual observations about him.
We're
How do
just
you
asking
feel?
questions.
How do you feel? He should be on the air with you. Instead, he's giving a tour to like Tony Segreto or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't feel hurt because he's a few minutes late. I would say
You,
it's
I mean,
unlike him. I would say he's.
No.
attendance has been sketchy at best the last couple months.
Best-
You know.
Yeah.
The best ability is what, Juju? Availability. That's right.
Bingo.
Excellent timing, you guys in the mic back there.
Get us more mics.
Yeah, I mean, we've got all these TVs.
More
here.
mics?
Win in Rome.
Yeah, that's what we need. More people. That's everyone's solution
Well,
around here. We need hire more people with more mics. And nothing gets fixed, and we got no audio in Utah. But hire more
The
people with
audio
more
got
mics.
there eventually.
Speaking of Utah, it was very curious and convenient that the dark side of the room's microphones weren't working.
Yeah.
I didn't talk to anybody or say
What was
anything.
that about?
Yeah,
Wow.
Black History
In
Month.
fairness, none of the microphones were
Exactly.
working.
I don't
don't
understand
know.
why there was segregation on the
We
side.
had
Yeah,
exactly.
what's going
Rudy
on?
Gay sat on our couch. I couldn't have sat with my brother Tony. I didn't know.
I think it's because
Jim
Tony
Crow
and I
over there.
needed to like go around the cameras for
That's what they
the
told
shaving
me.
at one point.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like optics bad.
Yeah.
As we wait for Ron McGill, I really was stunned this morning in a way that I rarely am. Mike Ryan was wandering around the room with a photograph of somebody who now has a mustache. And he was showing this photo of this very famous person to Billy, to Stugotz, and they did not recognize this person because this person's mustache made them look, in the words of Billy, like Carl Weathers.
That's half the story.
The person is Vince McMahon. Vince McMahon now looks like Armand from the first season of White Lotus. He's got a ridiculous mustache, and it makes him, I would say, in disguise, given all his scandals, unrecognizable. Billy and Stugotz know what Vince McMahon looks like. They stared at a photo of Vince McMahon with this mustache, and they were both like, who is that? I don't know that person. Roy, you are looking at it for the first time right now. You see the mustache of Vince McMahon. Would that have fooled you, that photograph? Would you have been able to figure out without me telling you that that was Vince McMahon?
No. I would not have known that was Vince McMahon. That looks nothing like Vince McMahon. It looks like he lost weight.
Now I'm seeing that that's a fake picture. If you scroll
not.
down on that article, Mike, it says there's an actual picture where he doesn't have the thing, and it says this is not a real picture.
Oh wow, that was like a one scroll. It's literally like an inch lower. How did Chris figure this out?
I'm a journalist.
Wow, you couldn't have needed to scroll left.
I'm Chris Cody, ESPN.
No, not anymore.
Mike embarrassed. Mike is embarrassed because I'm the one that always gets got there.
All right, I'll go to the penalty.
Where the hell's Ron?
Hey, do push-ups over there.
Where is Ron?
This Ron. Jeez. I bet if this was a dinner party, he'd be on time.
That's what I'm saying.
Why is that?
Like, he just seems like a guy that crushes a dinner party.
He does?
Yeah, Ron seems like every time I follow him on social media, every weekend it seems like he's posting some like black tie event. Like no one goes to more fundraisers throughout the year than Ron McGill. It's probably he's doing great work. I'm not criticizing. I'm just saying he loves an event. He loves something where I can put on a tux, have a night out with the wife.
Before we get to Ron McGill, and at some point we've got to get to
T's
this.
and P's, by the way. Hopefully everything's okay there. I don't know what's going on. He's usually on time.
Right.
You just said not so much lately.
Oh, that was then.
That was exactly. That's before we were wondering if something went wrong.
If something happened,
Now we're starting to get concerned.
Yeah, I'm worried.
Joe Mixon, it's a story we will get to in a second. But Stugotz was legitimately, when he wasn't upset by Rich Eisen's reporting from the scouting combine in St. Elmo's,
It's Lizen.
Stugotz was thrilled
Enough of him.
to hear the Eisen report that Phillip Rivers was calling around the league trying to get, what were the two teams? It was the Dolphins and somebody else.
It was the Dolphins
49ers?
and the 49ers that Phillip Rivers was calling it. And now the reports are, he called them last year. And now Phillip Rivers apparently is fully back in the game. He wants back. He wants another crack at this. I don't know why, but he wants another crack. And he is, according to reports, throwing himself into the free agency pool here of quarterbacks. And I'm not certain if I'm the Jets, if I don't get Aaron Rodgers, I might want Phillip Rivers. I mean, the guy can sling it. He's a gunslinger.
What are you doing?
What do you mean? Geno Smith. I mean, why not? Why not Phillip?
Stugotz always wants a name, Billy. Why are you looking at him saying, what are you doing?
I would take Phillip Rivers right now ahead of Ryan Tannehill. And I'm pretty certain I'd take him ahead of Jimmy Garoppolo. I would.
What?
I would.
What about Jameis ahead of Jameis?
Yep, I'd take him ahead of Jameis.
So what's your power ranking? Aaron, Lamar, Phillip Rivers?
I'm torn on Lamar and Phillip Rivers.
You didn't take that.
God.
You didn't take that year with the Colts, Stugotz, and get mortified and think to yourself, okay, Phillip Rivers is clearly done. Done the way that going to the Colts has gone and made Carson Wentz somebody who goes from starter to backup. He's now a backup.
Yeah.
You don't think that the Colts season, you're not paying any attention to what happened there? You just want a name?
I do, yeah. I love Phillip Rivers. I think Phillip Rivers, he's a good quarterback, borderline great quarterback. And, yeah, like, Dan, he's not Carson Wentz. And what happened with the Colts, you know, I don't really care. He's got 15 years before Indianapolis where he played at a very, very high level. And on this Jets team, it might be the best team he's ever been on. And he's been on teams with Tomlinson. How about that?
You don't think at this point that Phillip Rivers is Joe Flacco?
I wanted Joe Flacco.
I mean, but your quarterback analysis, I think it's hard to make it worse than.
What are you doing? I mean, Phillip Rivers is a very good quarterback with a year off.
No, he was a very good quarterback, and he wasn't, even though the Colts made it to the playoffs, he wasn't good towards the end.
24 touchdowns, 11 interceptions.
Box
That's
score
Derek
Sue.
Carr.
No,
I'm just saying, if you don't get Aaron Rodgers,
don't you remember how
that's
he looked?
a good fallback.
Yeah, but his body just looked old.
Yeah.
He looked old. He aged the way quarterbacks are supposed to.
Right.
No, wait a minute.
And now he's a year off.
But I'm just surprised that he called the Dolphins last year and he called the Niners last year and neither team wanted him.
Yeah,
I mean,
because he didn't look good.
But wasn't Mina saying that about Tom Brady? That's box score Mike with Tom Brady. Like, he didn't look
Tom
that
Brady
great.
looked good.
I mean,
don't tell me. Like,
I mean, Mina's saying different.
No, Mina is not arguing Tom Brady was bad. Mina was arguing that Tom Brady wasn't as good as the conventional stats were because he was clearly afraid to get hit, as anyone is. Tom Brady rushed the ball even more so and with a guy with the historically quickest trigger in the league. His offensive line was a mess. Do not put Phillip Rivers and Tom Brady in the same category.
The part that I wanted to address when it came to Phillip Rivers wasn't that. If Tom Brady is saying, I got 45-year-old shit going on, And you're telling me that you still think of Phillip Rivers as young when I think of him as 60 years old.
He's 41.
And the reason I think of him as 60 years old is because there is no way that you age the way other parents do when you have 10 kids, 11 kids, 9 kids. That you've heard on God Bless Football, Austin Eckler mentioned that the first time he met Phillip Rivers, he thought he was conducting a camp.
Charity
he was
event.
just trying to get everybody into the car to go someplace.
He thought it was a meet and greet with kids from a school.
You cannot tell me that he's going to age the way that other people are going to age.
You know who was all over this? I mean, Stugotz and Billy, they were on the Tom Brady unretirement. Steve Harvey was on the Phillip Rivers unretirement long before. They were doing the NFL honors a couple of years ago, and Steve Harvey called this.
When it comes to quarterbacks, I wanted to congratulate Phillip Rivers on his retirement from the NFL. Now that I've congratulated Phillip for his retirement, I want to welcome him right back to the NFL. Why, Steve? Because Phillip got 9 kids. 9. You're not retiring from nothing, homie. I got 7 kids. I'm 64 and still working. Your ass will be back next season. See you next year, homie.
Nailed it.
He does want to get out of the house, right? If Chris Cody and Billy are already hiding in the toilet so that they can get 30 minutes with their elbows on their knees.
Whoa.
Were his 9 kids the only one clapping for Phillip Rivers?
No, that was a pandemic award show, so you had faces and Zooms.
Okay, got it.
Social distancing. It wasn't held in Florida.
Okay. It sounded like 9 kids, though, right?
9 kids, one would assume, would make Phillip Rivers age, no matter his money, correct? No matter that he had a vehicle at one point that was driving him back and forth from San Diego, 2 hours to practice in Los Angeles. Phillip Rivers has had a very wealthy life. Phillip Rivers probably wants to get out of the house, right?
I would think, yeah. I mean, who wouldn't?
10 or 9 kids is a lot. And 9 kids, and what this is also important. What's the age range?
Ooh.
Because it's
Gotta
not
be all over the place.
it's not just 9 kids. It's you're shepherding. If you're shepherding around kids from the ages of 2 to 11 together, and
No, there's no way. It has to be more spread out than that. It's not 9 consecutive years.
no. Well, I mean,
Somebody's got to be in high school by now.
Be a
He-
record.
He's hardcore Catholic.
he was busy. I don't know whether they're a year apart or 2 years apart, but he wasn't stopping and taking a whole lot of breaks.
I'm seeing an article from October of last year where his kids' ages range from 3 to 20.
All right, so he's got 1 out of the house. He's got a second who's about to be out of the house, and then he's got 7
But
kids in the house.
he's got teenagers and a 3-year-old.
Look who decided finally to show up.
Sorry, guys.
Oh, he's
Yeah,
coming
what's
in
the excuse?
breathless. Look, hold
Yeah,
on a
what's the
second. You're
excuse?
coming in all winded and breathless. What is the
Had to
excuse?
show the Harpy Eagle to Jackie Nesbro.
What is the excuse?
We were catching up a bald eagle to ship it out.
Did you say, oh, wait, I got to go back to the Le Batard Show? I have this standing weekly commitment? Or were you like priorities?
Huh?
Which Diaz de la Portilla did you spend your time with instead of us?
Uh-oh. Hey, Ron, how was your weekend?
Questions are being asked.
Ron's unhappy right now. He's legitimately pissed at us. He's got what
No,
happened?
I deserve to be raked over the coals.
Yeah.
Let me have it. I accept it all.
You know what the greatest ability is, Juju?
Your availability, Ronathan.
Here we go.
Yeah, what happened, Ron? Real quick, you said you had an emergency with the Harpy Eagle. Now we can finally
No,
get.
not a Harpy Eagle. Not a Harpy Eagle. We're getting ready to. Rita, the bald eagle, is going to be going to a rehab facility, and we had to get her. Get her collected and crated.
Someone had to
And it
take a
took longer than
selfie
I
with
thought.
Rosh Lowe.
I mean, finally, we're done talking about Rita, right?
Wow.
Well, I'm just saying. I mean, she's no longer
what
there.
time's your
so-
hit on Primer Impacto?
That was a good one, Mike. That was a good one.
Ron,
Primer,
one
not
of
Primer.
one of the problems that people have here, and now we can all get it out in the open as these guys try to hide in the shadows. But
What do you mean?
well, the accusation was made
Shadows.
that those Eagles and being named Ron and Rita, that whole show became the Ron and Rita show in a way that makes us feel like it was a bit self-involved.
Jeez.
And I agree with you wholeheartedly. I swear over my children, I had nothing to do with naming those birds. It was the folks at Audubon and the folks at the Wildlife Rescue of Dade County that named those birds. I would always prefer never to have any animal named after me, specifically for the reason of what happened when we saw Rita get horribly injured. She had to be separated from Ron. Now Ron has a new female in the nest called Rose that is sitting on 2 eggs that are hopefully getting ready to hatch. Ooh. And this implies, and my wife looked at me right away, and she felt devastated because her namesake has been injured, had to be separated from Ron, is now going to a rehab, and Ron immediately picked up another female, and she looks at me and she goes, "Don't ever get any ideas. I hope it's not that easy for you if I go somewhere." I mean, I'm just getting the wrath from all angles on this stuff.
Rose,
so I had nothing to do with naming the names, so it was not self-serving at all.
Rose, a home wrecker. Rose is
whatever. That's what my wife calls her.
And how bad a shape is Rita in that you have to? The other allegation that's being made, and I don't know how to put this delicately, is that if Rita was being
I mean, that's a fair point by Ron.
If Rita was being crated up, that it is possible that you were just on the periphery taking photographs, getting in the way, as opposed to actually being helpful.
Oh my God. I didn't take a single photograph. I did not take a single.
You were just in them. Someone else was
snapping.
The implications here are mean and mean-spirited.
This is very mean-spirited. I don't like this one.
This was more fun when you weren't here.
Yeah. I got a question for Ron.
Should I go?
No.
I got a question for you, brother Ron. What do you think about the Ja Morant scandal going on right now?
What are you doing? That is not Juju. Go sit in the penalty box.
Oh wow!
Right now, and Ron, though, there is a show topic that we did want to get to with you because I think the audience may not be surprised by this at all. But Billy Gill, Stugotz, baseball very reluctant to change.
Yes.
Baseball needs to do something to reach young people. Every year, Mike Greenberg and Mike Golick were having the show, How Do We Fix Baseball? And it was speed it up. It's moving too slow. Let's speed this up. Let's wrap it up. And Billy has already, after a couple of spring training games...
Ron, baseball's too fast now. We got to slow it down a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Moving a little bit too quickly.
Everyone's in a rush to get somewhere.
Exactly.
Right?
America's pastime. Let's let some time pass. You know what I mean? Let's just sit down and enjoy some baseball. I know, Ron, I know you love baseball. I've seen you at Marlins games before. Marlins Park. Baseball. You have your jersey on. It says Ron McGill on the back. You walk around very proudly of that. How often do you throw out the first pitch? Because we were talking about that before you got in there. We think that they go to the...
Very fortunate to throw it out a couple of times. That's a great feeling to step out on that mound and throw the first pitch. I was very honored by that. And Billy, I love baseball the way it is.
Yeah.
Having said that, my wife would severely disagree with you.
Yeah, but I mean, look at the spring training game. It's too quick now.
But Ron, it's one of those places where you could just sit down, detach yourself, watch a baseball game. You might be there for 3 hours. You might be there for 3 days. Who cares? Why is everyone in such a rush to get somewhere? Let's just enjoy baseball.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the last slow thing that we have.
Sometimes it's just too slow. I mean, I don't mind if it's going to be, like a 6-4 ball game, a 8-5 ball game, but when it's like a 1-0 ball game.
Pitcher's duel.
The best.
The pitcher's duels don't work for me, guys. I hate to say it. Unless we're going for a no-hitter and we're going to make some history. These 3-4 hit games, they don't do it for me, guys. I got to be honest with you. They just don't. I want to see some bouncing the ball. I want to see some great plays. I want to see some scoring. I want to see some stolen base. I want to see some action. I don't want to just see strikeouts, and, ground outs and pop-ups because after a while that doesn't. Listen, I want to be honest with you. It probably reflects on the fact the coldest I've ever been in my life was Game 7 of the 1986 World Series in Shea Stadium, which was incredible. Okay, they won the World Series. But I've never been colder and more miserable. I think the game was like 2-1 or something. And I remember going in there and thinking, the guys selling coffee and those little beanie caps and stuff, and we're laughing at him. This is the World Series, we don't need that. It was one of those 2-1 ball games that was just horrific, buddy. It was horrific. I was never so cold in my life. I couldn't wait for the game to be over. Yeah, I wanted the Mets to win, which they did, thank God. But it was miserable.
Let me ask you a question, Ron. When they ask you to do a ceremonial first pitch, do you show up on time?
Wow. Listen, if you guys, why don't you just hit me with all of this crap right now?
Do you show up on time?
Okay?
Do you pull this shit with a Miking Bean? Do you do that? Do you disrespect Al Miking Bean?
There's no way Don Francisco was ever waiting for Ron McGill.
Hey, Roy,
There's no
I
way
want to
that
tell
ever
you how
happened.
great it was to
FaceTime with
see you
Javier
on Friday
Romero.
night out here.
Yeah.
You look spectacular with your wife.
Yeah.
You were dressed to the nines.
Roy
You
didn't ask you a
presented
question,
the
though.
show well because no one else from the show was there.
I didn't get an invite. I was driving back home.
Really? You didn't get an invite?
No, I got a
LeBatard,
text.
you didn't get an invite?
I got a
You
text
didn't
from you.
get an invite,
I was
LeBatard?
busy trying to win your charity, your foundation money, and you haven't shown up to a single highlight game.
Oh, I had to be at the freaking fundraiser for the zoo. That's my job.
I have my priorities. You have yours.
I mean, Dan texted us on Thursday and said we had to answer by Friday.
You want to cling a champagne glass with Fernando Fiore? You go right ahead. I'll be doing the real work.
Roy was there.
Wow.
Yeah.
Ron
Roy
Darling,
looked
huh?
good too, man. Roy looked really good.
Ron
man.
Darling,
Thank you. I
classic
appreciate
number
that,
two.
That man dresses up well.
Almost
For
blew that game.
some
3
reason,
earned runs.
nobody here wants to explain to the audience that you guys are talking about an event only 10 of you know about.
Well, no, hold on a second. If we're gonna explain what happened, you sent us a text on Tuesday that said we had to answer by the previous Friday.
Yeah, and by the
So
way,
by that point, it seemed clear we couldn't make it. To
also
Ron.
I was left off that text.
Where's Whitty? Where's Whitty at?
I wasn't on that text, and then all of a sudden, a couple hours
Here we go.
before, I got a text message saying my name is at will call. I'm like, what is this for? I have no idea. Dan sent a group text and he omitted me. Either way, I would not have gone because my highlight team was playing for your foundation, which I thought was more important. You would have appreciated more. I tried my hardest. I'm sorry the Cyclones didn't pull through.
I'm sorry this bit of in-house housekeeping has fallen into the streets in front of everybody. I have sensed from Billy, and I'm not positive about this, but the way that he has said it, he's kind of delighted in it, and he would only have one ally in Roy. I believe that Billy thinks it is lame that Ron McGill wears a jersey with his own name on the back of it.
Hold on. Now we're trying to, cast some shade around here and get people to attack me. I didn't say anything.
You didn't.
First of all, stop. First of all, the jersey was given to me by the Marlins.
Yeah.
They decided to put the name on the back as part of the first pitch thing. That was given to me as a gift.
Right.
So I wore it. I didn't purchase the jersey. I didn't ask them to put the name on the back. I would not. They gave me the jersey as part of the honor of being able to throw out the first pitch.
Wow.
Excuse me. I wear it with pride as a gift from the Marlins.
Very nice.
We all have one of
Crucify me for
those. No, but we all have one, and I don't wear mine. So, speaking
Well, that's
of,
your freaking problem. I'm proud to wear it.
speaking of
Do you
things
like
to
David
wear,
Sampson?
well, speaking of things to wear, Ron, how do you feel about this little Metropolitan jacket I have?
He means it quite little.
Would have served you well, 86 Game 7, huh? You had one of these back then, didn't you?
Anything would have served me well. A freaking little thin, anything. I was so cold. I've never been that cold in my entire life.
Next time you want to show up late because
You
you're
can't
having
even see
quiche
my
with
jacket.
Ari
Oh my
Odds.
God, Mike, I'm sorry. I said I'm
Distracted
sorry
enough
a
of this
million times. How many times can I say I'm sorry
just-
for
you've
being
been-
a little late?
you've
How many
just-
times have I been on time with you guys and you guys keep me holding for 15, 20 minutes?
Whoa.
How many times do you guys call and say, oh, listen, we can't do you
Whoa.
at 10. We got to do you at 11 o'clock. And you tell me that at 10 to 10.
I'm no
How many
longer the
times?
producer. I'm
Okay,
no longer the producer.
Not
really?
often.
Think about it, okay?
Not often, I would say.
Not
How
often?
often do
How
we-
often have I been late to this show?
There's often times that you're just like, hey, I'm sorry, I'm in Antarctica. Like, what kind of excuse is that?
I don't like
I don't
this.
hear that in my everyday lexicon.
Can we talk about Jesse Orozco's 2-inning save?
Sure.
Oh, God, those were big.
Roy Bellamy mysteriously is sitting out the discussion where he could be an ally who would defend the wearing of the jersey with your own name on the back.
Well, we know what team Roy's on
Roy
because he was out
chooses
there having hors d'oeuvres with Phil Farrow.
Damn right. And Dwight Lauderdale.
All these local luminaries that are apparently just far more important in Ron's life. This is a
That is
national
not-
platform. Okay.
No one is more proud.
What does Friday night have to do with today?
No one is more proud of the Cyclones than I am. Okay?
That's
No-
impossible. Ron, that's impossible.
Well, joke's on you because no one's part of the Cyclones this year.
Not right now. The Cyclones are a total loser ever since Chris Cody and Mike Ryan
How are
got.
your Cyclones doing this year since no one loves them more than you?
They're not doing very well, but I still love them. That's
Yeah.
the difference between a real fan and a loser.
That's
Real fans
right.
show up over
Loyalty,
there.
you tell him, Ron.
Real fans show up. Haven't seen you out there.
Roy, what do you have for Ron McGill? And I will just tell the audience and everyone else that Chris Cody speaks for all of us when he whispers into my ear about 3 minutes ago. How's this going?
Now, Chris needs to look.
Chris mad. He's upset.
Chris started this whole thing
No,
off
no.
air before. If we're going to be honest with you,
no.
before Ron got on here, Chris started here throwing stones.
Are you happy,
Chris,
Dan?
really?
You happy? You happy what
I
the
would
segment's
never, Ron.
evolved into? Because you're nodding your head. Yeah,
Yes.
you are happy.
Yes.
This is not. This is why you talk shit behind someone's back.
Families are fighting
This
now.
is
Dan.
why we do
Phillip
it when
back
Ron's
now,
not
man.
here.
You're happy about this?
I just want you to know I love all you guys regardless. I think you guys.
Well,
I
you
look at
haven't heard
as
what we
brothers,
said
and
yet.
I love you regardless.
Yeah.
I don't care if you're dumping crap on me the whole time. You're trying to make me feel terrible, this and that. I agree. It was horrible and disrespectful to be late. I apologize, but I still love you guys.
Well, and the audience is going to side with Ron McGill. His Q rating around here is much better than ours. People are always complaining to him. I can't believe that you allow them to treat you that way. So we've wasted enough of this important man's time claiming that he's always interested in just going to galas and being seen and photographing himself. And
Now get out of here. I'm sure Uptown Dale needs a tour.
Oh no.
He's worth it, though.
The general allegation is, Ron, as I bring it from the group now that it's all out there, is that you seem to what are you pointing at Tony for, Billy?
I mean, I just see there's a light flashing behind Ron. I think there's a llama with diarrhea that needs.
You need to finish saying it.
Yeah.
Ron's eyes are. I can't talk anymore.
Really?
Go take a candid with Chef Adrian.
You don't mock Chef Adrian. That's one of the best chefs on the planet. Don't mock her. That woman can cook.
Roy, what do you have for Ron McGill?
Ron, how is climate change affecting cold-blooded animals?
It's giving them greater range. Because as certain areas are heating up, those cold-blooded animals are able to expand their range into areas that would be more accessible to them because they're able to survive the warmer temperatures. That's going to be an issue we're going to see here in Florida as pythons start moving further north. I predict within 10 years, you're going to find pythons in Georgia. Okay, so that's going to be a big issue for cold-blooded animals. It doesn't really affect them so much in a detrimental way, even though there are some exceptions to that. But what it's going to do, it's going to expand the range of a lot of these cold-blooded animals that are able to survive now in climates that become much more tolerable.
Is there a unintentional benefit from that happening then? Like, because we'd be losing a lot of pythons that we don't want here anyways.
No, Billy, it's not like they're moving out of Florida and going to Georgia. They're just expanding their population.
Just asking. Jeez. Be so rude. I don't know everything about animals.
I wasn't being rude. I'm being factual. I'm just telling you. No, it's not like there's we're going to move to Georgia now because it's better. No, we're going to stay here. We're just going to have a lot more babies, and they're going to move north.
Ron, what is the next media scare going to be of these animals are moving into these neighborhoods anywhere in the United States or the world where we're going to get some of these scares because climate change is changing the patterns of animals and we're going to get more desperate animals as, you get a situation where they can't find food?
It's hard to say, Dan. I mean, I think the next big scare is probably going to be something very little. It's probably going to be some kind of an insect that is going to cause a disease spread, whether it be a mosquito or some other insect, a tick, a flea, or it could be an insect that causes such an incredible devastation on agriculture that it becomes economically catastrophic. I think we concentrate a lot on things like pythons because they're easy to be afraid of and people can see them. But I think it's the smaller things that many of us cannot see that are going to be the real detriment when it comes to invasive species causing harm to the environment.
Last question that we get your expertise on. When it comes to just the bird flu, can you tell us what it is you think are the most important parts of that people should know?
Well, I think for the general public, when you look at the bird flu, you're looking at the economic devastation that it can occur if it gets into things like our poultry. The poultry farmers, you wipe out, look what people are paying for eggs. Think what you'll be paying for chicken. Look what's happened during Thanksgiving with turkey. People seem to somewhat, unfortunately, not pay attention to things until it affects them in the pocketbook. And that's going to be something that could really affect them in the pocketbook if you start wiping out these massive populations of poultry farms that, provide us with things like eggs and poultry that are, the substance of a lot of our diets. These are the things that I think, people will, unfortunately, is what it's going to take for people to really start paying attention.
Ron, you love the Dolphins. Brady or Tua?
I want to believe in Tua. And the only reason I say not Tua is because as a human being, I just don't think that it's worth the risk of him continuing to play, that he's demonstrated that he's susceptible to these concussions. And when we look at historically, Nick Buoniconti, Junior Seau, people like this, he's a young, good guy He's got a great contract that will enable him to walk away. He's articulate. He'd be a great commentator. I want him to be our Dolphins quarterback as a sports fan, but as a human being, I want him to retire, save himself, become a great commentator, and set an example of, protecting yourself, your health, and your family, because nothing's more important than that.
Nice way of saying Brady.
Okay.
Yeah.
Go.
It's okay. I'm with you.
I'm sure there's a polka dot pillar that you and Romero Brito need to take credit for.
Oh, no.
See you later, Ron. Good talking to you.
Love you, Mike.
Mike, we were just so mean to Ron McGill.
There we go. Thank you.
Why?
I don't know, because we're bad people.
Dan likes to pit
honest.
people against another, and so that's what we did.
Because they were talking shit in the shadows, and I said, say it to his face instead of just saying it on a podcast. He's too old to check the podcast. He's just going to get it secondhand. Say it to his face.
Well, one of us had the balls to.
Yeah. What happened?
What did you say to his face?
Well, nothing was said to his face.
I just made a bunch of local Miami jokes.
It was mean. It started out with behind the scene, kind of us questioning.
If you know who Ari Azer is, you're in for a treat.
It was kind of questioning if Ron needs to be involved in all of the animal surgeries that he misses the show for frequently, because there's animal surgeries.
Right.
When he's a PR guy for the zoo, and he
he's not
takes
a vet.
photos. Then we were joking that maybe he gets in the way of the real doctors sometimes because he's just taking photos of the animals having surgery. Yeah. And then we thought it'd be Chris Cody's big moment to kind of make a heel turn and go after Ron McGill, because he was the one making all these accusations.
Well, we predicted that he would come and arrive all frazzled. And
he did.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
And he did exactly that. So it was hilarious, but he was genuinely frustrated. So then it was like, we were supposed to make fun of him, but I felt the energy of, he's actually frazzled.
Chris bails, so then the rest of us were left. When he was kind of like our general on this, and then he bailed.
But the overall point, Mike, is when you're talking behind someone's back, it's meant to be behind their back and stay behind their back.
Not to Dan Le Batard, though.
Yeah.
He won't afford us the one American right that we have left, which is being able to talk shit about somebody with no consequences.
Yeah.
I like that the point isn't we shouldn't talk behind the back of our close friend and longtime coworker.
Dan shouldn't tell him that we said these things.
Exactly.
A little tattletale.
Who's the last person you talk shit about behind their bike or their back, Mike?
Or their bike.
Yeah, their bike.
I don't do that, Billy.
No, well, not publicly. Not publicly.
Everyone does it.
Bill Lawrence probably.
What are you, a philosopher or something?
Regardless, they are blaming me because I don't want to do this anymore. Let's talk to Mike Schur about yesterday's controversy that he came on here refusing. He's a dignified man, and he was trying to protect the privacy of somebody while also giving us this beloved daily content that impresses the bosses as an intern at Meadowlark Media. And he told us he was walking around some studios, and there was a cartoonish figure in the locker room, totally nude, blow drying his under parts, his undercarriage. And we took a couple of guesses because I imagined it was Alec Baldwin. Alec Baldwin strikes me as the type that would be comfortable doing that, but he rejected it. However, we've done some investigative reporting. And while Mike Schur is unwilling to give up the name, we believe we have the name. We
found it, Dan.
We believe that Will Forte told Conan O'Brien the name, and now we're going to get to the literal bottom of the story.
Yeah, so this is several years old, this clip from Late Night with Conan O'Brien, and famously Max Weinberg and the Max Weinberg 7 were the house band of Conan O'Brien, and I guess this was a one of those moments where shit talk was exposed in the light because Mike worked at NBC and a bunch of NBC employees knew this about somebody that was working there. So they started talking about Max Weinberg a little bit, and guess what nugget we found at the end?
So I kind of kept tabs on him with my peripheral vision, and as he finished his business there, he strolled by, and I looked up and I discovered that it was Max Weinberg. I don't want to go too into it, but I did a little research, and I found that it was kind of the tip of the iceberg. And there are quite a number of rumors concerning Max and his locker room etiquette, which may or may not, it's kind of like Bigfoot sightings, which may or may not include
I got very big feet.
Max and a blow dryer and his balls. But I don't know, I didn't see any of this, but I think it's up to Max to confirm or deny
What are you talking
this.
about? Is this real?
I don't know if it's real or not. Only Max knows.
When I get back from talking to my lawyer, I will get back to you.
Okay.
Do you use a blow dryer on your privates in the bathroom? Do you? It's just a yes or no thing. I don't do that. Do you do that?
I don't. I don't.
You should.
Conan O'Brien doing that is visually amusing.
So Mike, did you take part in the note comparing when it comes to Max Weinberg? Did Will Forte get this story from you?
No, he didn't. He got it from someone who I will also not name, who was the same person who I went to when I saw it, who was like, "Oh yeah, that's a thing that happens." So yes, good investigative reporting. This is maybe the greatest investigative journalism that this podcast has ever done. I think it was lightning fast speed with which you uncovered the truth.
Sounds like you were gossiping behind Max Weinberg's back.
It sounds like you were talking behind his back.
I don't think that counts as talking behind someone's back when you witness something and then go to someone else and go, am I insane? Did I just see
precisely what that is.
Yeah.
Let's do this.
Welcome to the dark side.
Behind his balls.
Old ethicist over here, Mike Sure, the hypocrite. Let's do stat of the day.
Start of the day, start of the day. It is your start of the day. Start of the day, start of the day. It is your start of the day. Start of the day, start of the day. It is your start of the day. Start of the day, start of the day. It is the start of the day.
I appreciate you turning on original sound so I can hear the music.
You got it.
Folks, the San Diego Padres have roughly $1.475 billion in contract commitments on their books currently. That is almost exactly the national GDP of Gambia.
The Pods.
If they sign Juan Soto, by the way, they'll be roughly at Belize. They're going to move up the charts slowly but surely and eventually get up to China.
I don't believe that. What?
Oh, upset.
I was robbed.
Hey, I also have my first ever looks like submission. Do you want to hear it?
Yes, we need some, Billy. We need some for the tournament, correct?
No, thank you.
Yeah, we don't need it.
We'll close it with Mike.
No?
Right. No, yeah. I mean, we need to start kind of cranking this out. It's Selection Sundays this Sunday. You know what I mean? We have a meeting today, but we'll end with this.
Isn't Kirkshin coming on with us tomorrow?
Yeah, that was not planned, but we'll read him some tomorrow. By tomorrow, we should have the field. So, Mike, we could try. And you'll probably get it in because you're famous. What is it?
All right, here we go.
Hold on, wait a minute. You can't just let him in. Adam McKay's been trying to get into this tournament forever. He doesn't. He's trying to write these to get into the tournament, and I don't think he's qualified. Although this year we are desperate.
Michael Scher, salute to you, big brother. I'm a big fan. I will be fielding calls on Thursday for looks like submissions for fans of the show, so you can call and give us that then. Keep it to yourself now, sir.
Keep it to myself.
Yeah,
I shouldn't give it.
Yes, sir. Don't tell us.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Oh, man. I was excited.
You can text me.
Okay.
All right, I'll text you.
You want it? Okay, it's got to be a secret. We're going to embargo his comedy writing, comedy stylings. Thank you. That was an excellent stat of the day. What are the Padres doing? How can they afford all of that?
I think they're making a bet that sort of like a Premier League team. They're making a bet that if they don't actually make money year over year, that the value of the franchise itself will go up continuously. And so they're basically zeroing out. I think they're just like, we're going to be a super competitive team in Southern California for the next 10 years. And that will make the value of our franchise grow and grow and grow. And then we'll sell it for twice what we bought it for. That's the only thing I can think of because they're very wealthy, the folks who own the Padres, but this is insane. And the rumor is now they're also going after Juan Soto. They're going to try to re-sign Soto, which will be $400 million at least over 10 years. And they may go after, there's rumors they're going after Ohtani. I mean, they're just like, they're making a bet that 10 years from now, when they're paying Fernando Tatis Jr. and Machado and all those guys, $32 million a year, that it will look cheap, and they might be right.
As a fan, though, you love that, right?
Love it.
If you
kidding?
care
It's
about
great.
the business and you're on management side, for whatever reason, you would hate it. But you have to love it if you're a Padres fan.
I think you have to love it if you're a baseball fan. Like teams that are not traditionally relevant, spending this kind of money to be relevant and good is awesome. Like, I mean, it's sad that no one's going to see them play all year because nobody watches baseball games at 7 p.m. on the East Coast, much less 10. But it's going to be fascinating to watch them. I mean, those guys are all 41 at the end of their contracts or whatever. It's going to be rough then, but for the next 5 years, they should be great.
If this works and they sell the team, or if this works, they win a championship and then the value of the team doubles or whatever, right? Does this just show that you can do that? Like for all the smaller market teams that say like, we can't compete, we can't do this, we can't afford it, we can't do this or that or whatever. If this works, then it can show that you can do it if you want to.
Yeah, I mean, San Diego has some advantages in terms of being a destination people want to play. It's famously nice weather. It's like a laid-back city. There's not a ton of media pressure on the team because no one really cares about the team. So it's not. Yeah, I'm not sure you can do this in Denver or even in Washington or something. But if you have the foresight and the wherewithal and the desire to win, then yeah, of course you can do it. They've always been able to do it. That's the thing. Like they cry poverty like all institutional managements dealing with labor. They cry poverty all the time and say we just can't spend this money. But of course they can. That you can't buy a baseball team unless you have enough money to do exactly what they're doing. So I think that there's a reason the other owners hate Steve Cohen. And they hate AJ Preller and the Dodgers management, or the Padres management, and the Dodgers management for that reason. It's because they're proving that, like, if you want to win, you can spend this money. Everybody can. They all can.
If you miss the opening of baseball cards, you are alone, but you can hear some of that over at the podcast with Joe Posnanski, where they have raised more than $100,000 and continue to do good things for charity. The podcast is where you find Mike Schur. We will talk to you again tomorrow, sir.
Thank you so much. It's been a real pleasure.